What's shaking, AC?
Oh, I just always love the intro. Always get us warmed up for a little chat here. Does that warm up your voice, by the way?
No, my voice feels just fantastic. I mean,
Just like your hair.
just like my hair.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into things. I think it would be really fun for us to do a part two here of recapping Jesse Itzler's opening keynote at the Franchise Leadership and Development Conference so that we can use what we learned and heard to inspire our audience and also just show some love to Jesse and the mission that he's on. As we talked about in our previous episode, we both felt we really related to a lot of what Jesse said. You, I think, because you are a really good risk taker. You're really good at taking risks. Did you know that, by the way?
I I think so, yeah.
I think you learned it when everybody came up to you after and said, that sounded like you on the stage.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? To me, it sounded like you because a lot of the stuff he was talking about is exactly what you try to convey out into the world and to your clients and family and friends.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for saying that. And my mission and our mission, the team's mission is, and I believe yours as well as a franchisor, is to help people get beyond their limiting beliefs and, take action. And that, to me, that was what Jesse, was all about, like taking action and living life. And, we have our core value of action equals growth at AC Inc. And what that really means is, we're not afraid to take a risk and to do something before we feel ready, because we know that there's a good chance of some kind of a positive reward on the other end. We also know that if we fail, we'll figure it out and we'll move on, but we'd rather fail or learn something than not have taken that risk. So that, I think, is a big part of why I felt so aligned with a lot of what Jesse said. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I hope our audience hears this so that that levels us up for credibility. Like if a guy like Jesse's saying it, then maybe what we're saying actually is true. So, we help franchisors with everything from the early stages of what to do to, with established franchisors working with their field team and really making sure that their field team have the skills and the leadership traits and the coaching to really help the franchisees be profitable. So it's not all about the technical with us. And I think that's, again, why I'm excited about this. I really want to share the message that Jesse imparted on people and it had a good impact. So let's get into another takeaway. I'd love to hear another takeaway that really stood out for you.
All right. Well, the last one we talked about, don't negotiate your goals. Okay. So if you have goals, don't negotiate them, keep pushing forward. But what is the driving force that keeps you pushing forward? And so Jesse mentioned in this specific one, concept was that pressure is a privilege. Okay. And so what he means by that, at least what I gathered from it, is that when you have pressure to do something, to accomplish something, you typically end up being more driven. Your life stops being just like a flat line and it starts to go up. You remove that laziness out of that segment so that you can continue pushing forward to achieve these goals. That comes from the pressure. So what induces that pressure to make you want to do that? And for him, it was a complete self-awareness of his mortality and how much time he actually has left. He only has 28 summers before he dies, if he's an average person that lives to the age of 78 or whatever the math worked out to be. He asked a gentleman in the audience, who lived in Washington and his parents lived in Colombia. He said, how old are your parents? 91, right? And he said, they'll probably live to 95. So you only have 4 more visits because he visited them once a year.
Right, because they said they visit once a year. So then, oh my gosh, you only have 4 more visits.
Rather than thinking about it, there's 4 more years. A year has so much time, right? Why wouldn't you say there's 4 more visits available, and that puts the pressure on you to, build a better relationship with them or whatever that might be. So having that pressure is a privilege that helps you drive towards your goals.
Yeah. I also liked how he said, I think he said he's 53 and the average person lives to 78. So that means I have 25. He loves the summer.
Yeah.
That means I have 25 more summers. Did I do the math right?
Yeah.
Okay, you were smiling, and I'm like, did I gap out? And like, it is Friday, so my brain gets a little fried on Fridays. But 25 more summers, and what are you going to do with those summers? Like that perspective is important, and I don't see that as a it's not a fear-based thing. And I just wanted to add in here that when I first heard this, pressure is a privilege, I'm like, what? Like, is this, because I'll tell you one thing, I love the, like, grit and resilience and hustle you've got behind you there. And I do believe we need those things. There you go. For anybody that's on the video, a lot of people could be listening to this on a podcast and they're like, what are they talking about? But Robert's got some canvases behind him there. And I do believe it takes grit, it takes hustle and all that. But I'm not this person that's like, you got to outwork your competitors. And like, that's not how I try to motivate people. But once I understood better, like when he put that all into perspective about the 4 more years with the parents, that gentleman's parents were 91. And I was like, oh yeah, if that kind of thing puts pressure on me to do things that I love, or take risks that can have really fun and exciting outcomes, I can resonate with that.
Yeah, he said that whenever he does something, it falls into 4 buckets, right? And like that's his bucket list. It either has to do with business, health, friends or charity, or family, I believe. I think those were the 4, right? And outside of that, if it doesn't serve any of those 4 purposes, he just says no, because his time is limited. And he wasn't speaking in the sense of like, my time is too valuable to be involved in this, but my time here on earth is limited and I have to contribute it to the places that are the most meaningful for me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a scary thought, because it makes, well, scary and good, and it makes you want to take that leap of faith. And when at the times when it's difficult, and again, with you being a franchisor, I think a lot of franchisees need to be recognizing that when they're stuck in their corporate 9 to 5 job and they're not happy and they're waiting and they're thinking that I'll make that decision someday. Well, there might not be a someday. Like if you keep sitting around and thinking about it, nothing's going to happen. You've got to actually take action. And so, yeah, that pressure that puts on you. I really like the concept of the bus. The bus is, imagine if your life is a bus and it's moving and there's no brakes. You can't turn it around. You can't go back.
Can't
And
stop. Yep.
Can't stop.
What's happened has happened. He said, remember tomorrow. You know what I mean? Remember, think about what will happen in the future, what will happen tomorrow, what that means in your life, rather than like, remember when we went on vacation last week, or, remember when we did this thing. Remember tomorrow. Right. Remember how that's important to your bucket list or to your goals,
Right. And it's kind of like, will this thing that I'm doing right now, in 1 year from now, how will I be feeling about this thing that I did? Is it going to be like, that was a good investment, or does it? And then often I find when we're really stressed, like on my way to a recent conference, got stuck in the Toronto airport, and in the moment I'm like, oh, this isn't very fun. But in a year from now, is that really going to matter? Am I ever going to even really think about that, other than maybe I bonded with the people I was with and maybe have a good story to tell? But really it's not that relevant. So thinking of it like that also can be very empowering.
And you can train that too, right? Like he gave an example of him hosing his son down, and when his wife called and said for dinner, he just left the hose, and then he went back and said, no, I know I could clean it up later or tomorrow or whatever, but this is me getting on the path of laziness.
Right. Yeah. And I love how he said, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
And so to really think about that mentality in the way that you approach things, and have, what I heard there also is like to have like a certain level of integrity in a mission statement that you live by, so that you, again, the buckets, the mission statement, so that you stay on the right course.
Yeah.
And
take a personal mission statement, that to clear that. It's a personal mission statement, not necessarily a company one,
Right. And yours is global domination.
Yeah.
Well, and I've got a personal mission statement myself, and that is to create transformational growth in everybody that I interact with while having fun. I don't want to just inspire people. I want to transform people.
All right.
Let's
wrap it up.
All right. 3,
2, 1. Go be awesome.